Sticking in the AFC South, Texans at the Jaguars, 17-10. Jacksonville wins this game. Ugly, but ugly wins.
Are wins. And winnable games.
Go ahead.
They're only winnable if you win them.
There it is.
See that?
There it is, my friend. Top five graded plays that we had top five graded players, that we had for the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. Edge rusher Josh Hines Allen at the top of the list with an 87.4. Tight end Bretton Strange with an 86.2. Edge rusher Trayvon Walker a 78.7. Cornerback Jordan Lewis with a 78.1. What a game from him. Safety Antonio Johnson with a 77.5. And then quarterback Trevor Lawrence with a 66.7. On Houston's side of things, defensive tackle Tim Settle at the very top of the list with a 91.1. Defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins right behind him with a 90.0. Edge rusher Will Anderson an 89.9. Cornerback Jalen Petrie an 87.8. Safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson with a 74.3. And then quarterback C.J. Stroud a 63.2. Dalton, stat that told the story.
It probably should be the fact that entire top five for Houston was all defensive guys, because that's really where we're at with the Texans now.
That's how it's going to be the whole season.
Yep.
Outside of Nico Collins, whenever he wants to be in.
This team, we've talked about already for 2 weeks. They don't block well enough. They are last in the league in points through 3 weeks. They are 25th in offense grade. I'm surprised they're even that high. They're 22nd in yards per play. They're 28th in EPA per play. In this game, what it felt like is they just had no avenue to make big plays. One play in this game for the Houston Texans that gained at least 20 yards, and it was the 50-yard touchdown to Collins that Jacksonville just completely blew a coverage on. Basically, if the Texans are going to make a big play, you have to hand it to them. First down, I think, is a huge problem for this team. And again, all in the context of this is probably the worst offensive line in football, them or Cincinnati. Those, to me, are clearly the two worst offensive lines. This game, 4.4 yards per play on first down. If I take out that touchdown, which accounts for 50 yards, they're getting 2.4 yards per play on first down. They can't. They just can't. They can't get the engine running. This is one of the worst. We have to just say it. C.J. Stroud is their quarterback. That's true. Nico Collins, you have a number one. But because of the line and because nobody else is stepping up, this is one of the worst offenses in football, and it's gonna stay that way.
So I watched all of CJ's dropbacks this morning, and the offensive line's not good, obviously, but there are plays where they block well enough.
Oh, he's starting to miss now. It's bad.
He's starting to miss, and he's just not confident right now.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's a Nick Caley thing with the offensive coordinator, which I think he's still learning as well. I was very critical of the goal-to-go situation that he had against the Buccaneers last week. Well, I guess that was Monday Night Football, so I guess we haven't talked about that fully on this show yet. There was that goal-to-go situation where they started on the 8-yard line. They run a slant to Nico Collins, and he gets him to the 1-yard line. And then from the shotgun, they run like a stretch run, which Vita Vea blows up. So they're still at the 1-yard line, either the 1 or the 1.5. They didn't really go back that far. Vita Vea just stopped them. They then throw sort of like this. It wasn't really a goal line fade. It was more of like a, hey, Nico, can you get to the back of the end zone? And I'm going to try to fire it out of the end zone, and you're going to kind of snag it as you're sliding out of bounds sort of a thing. That didn't work. And then it's like a rollout to CJ's left on 4th and goal. And it's like, I hated a lot of that. And then this week, so I'm watching this week. Early on in the game, there was, and I know I'm nitpicking here, but it all compounds. With the offensive line and then CJ being not as confident, like it all compounds. They're running a offset I formation, play action Yankee concept where the guy to his right is supposed to be running sort of this deep over, and the guy to his left is running like this deep post. And it's against a true cover 3. It ends up being like a cover 3 buzz where the safety's coming down and biting on the play action. But essentially, if you were running the true Yankee concept, if you guys can sort of like follow like how my hands are doing this, one wide receiver, so if you got like the 3 deep defenders here, one wide receiver is carrying this outside corner and the safety. It's this deep post where he's carrying both of them to the other side of the line of scrimmage. And then the point of a Yankee concept is then this guy is running this like deep, like over route, crossing route underneath it so that the cover 3 corner on the other side either won't follow him and then he'll be open over the middle, or he will follow him and he'll be open close to the sideline. But the route, I think it's Jalen Noel who's running it. He like stops like in the middle of the field, and then it's almost like it's a pivot route, like going back out to the outside. And it's like, in order for that to work, one, you have to have an incredible wide receiver who really knows how to like sink his hips and immediately like sell a really good whip or pivot
Jefferson
route.
Or
right, exactly. Yeah. So Noel doesn't get open, and now CJ's holding onto the ball. We're now 3 seconds into the play. There's nowhere to throw it. Those are the only two options to throw it to. And so like I don't love that design, especially for how long you're demanding your offensive lineman to hold on to the ball for it. And look, I know I'm a dude on a show, on an internet show after the fact, criticizing one play, but it's like there have been little examples of that, I feel like, throughout the first 3 weeks where I think Nick Caley, their offensive coordinator, is still sort of figuring out the play design and the play calling things, the rhythm of how to get a good feel for the game and call the right plays. I don't think Stroud is confident right now in this offense because there are multiple times where I watched him, like there are guys open and he's like pump faking it, and he's like, I don't want to let go of the football. He's just not playing nearly as confidently. Because the whole reason I'm bringing this up is because I think a lot of people are going to go, Stroud's trash now. He had the first year. Last year he wasn't good. This year he's not good. One, I wouldn't say the last year he wasn't good. No, the offensive line was not good.
Block anybody.
Couldn't block anybody last year. This year, still can't block anybody, and he's got a new offensive coordinator they're still figuring the chemistry out with. I watched all of Stroud's dropbacks because I wanted to come to the conclusion, do I think Stroud's fine? I think Stroud's fine. Is he playing his best? No. But I also don't think, like what we talked about before, quarterbacks in certain situations, I don't think Stroud's in a great situation right now. Basically, Nico Collins is it for him. And he just doesn't have a lot of confidence unless he's seeing Nico, liking the matchup, and letting it go. Yeah. Outside of that, it's a lot of up and down.
And there were certain games it was like that last year. I think the biggest thing you worry about with Stroud, we're in week 3 talking like this. Quarterbacks especially, it's so much about habits. Okay, Jordan Love has his habits that you see when it goes high and low, right? Trevor Lawrence is about as habitual a quarterback as you can get because when things are hot and his mechanics are good, he looks great, and when it's not, he looks a little shaky, and he looks shaky through the first 3 weeks too. What I would worry about, maybe C.J. Stroud looks fine right now, I would worry about some of these habits becoming week in and week out. And by the time we get through 17 games, yes, he may have had a bad year, and then the habits physically are starting to take a toll on him, and the mechanics are getting lost, and then he's, like you mentioned, skittish to throw the ball downfield. And it should be said, look how young this offense is. First-time offensive coordinator, 2 rookie receivers that each only got 1 target in this game, a rookie at left tackle. They're super young on the offensive line. Even C.J. Stroud is still only in his 3rd year. They're splitting running back time between Nick Chubb, who's pretty close to over the hill, and Woody Marks, who as a rookie, a day 3 rookie, was probably not expecting to play this much either. I mean, they're so young on this offense, and you can understand at that point why CJ only trusts Nico Collins with anything, because he's one of the best receivers in football, but he's the only guy he also has chemistry with in a new system. And they can't block anybody. There's all of these things put together, and this team on paper, again, this team on paper is arguably, front to back, the most talented team, in quotes, in this division. But because they are so young and so dysfunctional on the offensive line, you get into head-to-head matchups. Every team, 28 out of 32 teams have a solid defensive line now. There's so many good defensive linemen in the league, right? And look at the first 3 teams. Look at the teams they've played. Tampa probably has something closer to just a decent defensive line, and you still have Vea and Diaby and Reddick and talented guys like that. The Rams, there was no chance they were blocking. Even this game, my most impressive guys, I even have down Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. I mean, they combined for 14 pressures, 2 sacks, both of them pass rush grades in the 70s. You're going to walk into just about every single game if you're Houston at a disadvantage, a major disadvantage up there. And now you can see the ripple effect on this whole team. They scored 38 points in 3 games.
Yeah.
They can't score.
Yeah.
And throw another quote on there. If you can't score, you can't win.
I mean, both offenses stunk in this game. Like, it's not just the Texans.
Sure.
I thought both offenses stunk in this game. Lawrence at least had some throws where he was ripping it a little bit, but one player in this game, had an offensive grade above 67. 67. I'm not even talking 70. I'm not talking 75. One player in this game, I think it was Brenton Strange. I think he was the only one who had an offensive grade above 67. 5 drops for the Jags in this game. I mean, Trevor had some throws that were really nice.
Oh,
and they're just getting dropped.
And then even just he's still. I still think he's figuring out. Him and Liam Cohen are figuring each other out.
They
There's
are,
a big feel.
but
I'll be honest with you. The MVP of this Jags team is their defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanile. They have the second highest graded defense in the league right now.
Holy cow! Speaking of, what a signing Jordan Lewis has been.
Jordan Lewis, yeah, incredible. They're they have the second best coverage grade in the league right now. They were awful last year.
I remember when they signed Jordan Lewis. I remember on our show, I was like, why? You have Jerry Jones, you have Tyson Campbell, and Jordan Lewis, not really an outside corner, more of a slot guy. Jerry Jones wasn't really great as an outside corner, so now you're taking the slot reps from Jerry Jones, you're giving them to Jordan Lewis. I thought it was just a strange signing. He was excellent in this game. His interception, I think it was just I don't think it was a trap 5 play because they weren't really in that pseudo man coverage look. So I didn't think that it was like a trap 5 coverage. I think it was just he was playing the quarterback's eyes. He just read it very well, and he went and got an interception. And then also the diving forced incompletion when he was in the slot against the seam route. He's been excellent for this team. And I think, it just goes to show. Bucks, Jags, Cleveland Browns, wear your good jerseys. Good things are going to happen.
Oh, okay.
See the Jags jerseys in this game? They were the throwback.
Hot.
The throwback teal jerseys.
Yeah.
Dub. Bucks, throwback creamsicles. Dub. Cleveland Browns. Best team in the NFL comes to town. Don't matter.
What is it Deion Sanders
Dub.
always says? Look good, play good.
100%.
Play good, something else,
100%.
I forget. It's always a whole thing.
Aesthetics matter. Anyways.
I still haven't learned that lesson, but
You'll get there.
We'll
You'll
get
get there. I got faith in you. Okay, that's all I had. Most impressive, most disappointing.
The edge rushers dominated Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker for Jacksonville. And then the Texans, they're just, I think maybe by choice or what have you, they're just not getting enough out of this rookie class. I mean, you drafted Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. They only got 1 target apiece in this game. Ariante Ursary gave up 5 pressures, and he's been pressed into starting duties. Woody Marks with a 51 grade in this game. Look, they're asking a lot of these kids, but especially to me, Higgins and Noel, you got to find a way to get these guys involved. He can't just be Nico Collins and nothing else.